Hey guys, Johnny Curves 2000 here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Fantastic Four for the PlayStation 1. This is part 2, and right away we are continuing on with our trek here. For some reason we have gone to an island of some sort. I just realized that. I don't know how we got from a city to a cave, and now we're on some sort of island. Especially when you see an upcoming enemy that we're going to see, you may be wondering, what the heck just happened? Transition fail. Now here I will say this is where we are introduced to bottomless pits. As you guys can see in the foreground there, we are on a ledge, and this can come to a bit of strategy, because you can technically throw your enemies. As I said before, you have three kinds of throws. You have your regular throws, which just throws the enemy either in front of you or behind you. You have one that throws your enemy to the background, and one that throws your enemy to the foreground. So technically, if I can start throwing like I just did right there. Actually, I can actually start throwing the smaller enemies to the foreground to make them fall off the ledge, and that's actually a pretty good strategy to use so that you don't get overwhelmed, especially when you're dealing with some of these bigger guys over here. These big rock-looking, I don't know what they are. Especially these guys right here, which, funny enough, like they look like their bottoms stick out. I don't know if that's just me. And by the way, the thing actually looks smaller than he should. That's just a bit of a nitpicking. But I imagine he needs to look bigger. I guess the same thing with the Hulk. He kind of looked smaller than he should, really. But you know, that's just me. And here we are introduced to a big Cthulhu creature. I don't know what's going on there. But if you walk forward like the thing did, because he's a dumbass, he's going to punch in there. And then if you walk over here, he's going to punch there. Thankfully enough, he only does that those 2 times. So you don't have to worry about him punching through the walls anymore. I don't know why. But you do have to worry about the fact that he's constantly throwing these laser beams in the middle there. So every time you walk in there, he shoots a laser beam and you get hurt, obviously, so you don't want to do that. The laser beams actually have a bigger area, like right there. I was standing nowhere near the laser beam, but as long as you hit, like right there, like I was nowhere near the laser beam. But so basically what I'm trying to say is that the laser beams actually have a very, very big area where that you can actually get hurt by them. If you actually go by the graphics alone, I think the area where you are still able to get hit by those laser beams is the area where whenever he shoots the laser beam, there's like a little circle on the ground that turns red. I think that's the area where you can get hit. It's a pretty big area. You may think that, oh, you have to get hit by the actual laser beam. Like, no, you actually get hit still if you touch the circular red area on the ground as well. I don't get it. I actually don't know who that is. I don't know if that's supposed to be a Marvel character or not. If it is, I don't know him. You know, I'm a pretty big Marvel fan, as you guys can probably tell. I'm actually playing this game. Most people would probably avoid this game. I wouldn't. I actually really like this game. It's not one of my favorites, but the fact that it's a Fantastic Four game, I like it. Now this area right there on that drawbridge, or not that drawbridge, but just the bridge, can actually really screw you up, and it's more so when you have your CPU drones on, mainly because they have a tendency to push you. They'll like keep walking forward, and if you're standing in their way, they'll just push you, and they will move you ever so slightly. But because the bridge is so narrow as it is, you have a tendency to to be pushed off by accident. So that's one of the times when the drones can actually backfire on you. Like I said before, there are some things that work with the drones, other things that don't work with the drones. Honestly, I would much rather have the drones in this game included than not having them included. I actually like the fact that I can have this sort of a gameplay, where I'm not playing by myself. I mean, I'm technically still playing by myself, but you guys can see all of the Fantastic Fours. You can see what they do. Mind you, they're still acting very much stupid because Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman there are kind of walking into the wall, and the thing isn't doing anything. Oh, well, no, now he's walking into the wall too, and Mr. Fantastic is still not doing anything. But it's still a treat to see all the characters, like it would have been less fun if you saw me being the Human Torch the entire game. You'll get old, I know if I watched, it would get old for me. Now, one thing that I need to go ahead and mention right now, I was thinking about mentioning the other later on, way in part 5, which is the final part of this Let's Play. But I need to mention it now because some of you may be wondering, what the heck is that thing in the middle? That little icon in the middle. that has the hand with apparently a fireball coming out of it. To be quite honest with you guys, I never even knew what that was. Here's a little bit of a fun fact. This is actually the first time I ever beat this game, and I actually recorded it. So, before I used to just play it just for fun. I never actually beat the game because I just had fun playing it. Every now and then I would just whoop it out, put it into my PlayStation 1. Never beat it. Never really bothered beating it until now. I myself didn't actually know what that little icon in the middle is. Let me tell you what it is, because it's actually very, very important, and it'll come back to haunt me later on in this gameplay, in this Let's Play rather. That little icon only appears, to my knowledge, when you have the CPU drones on. What it does is it actually functions as what you want them to do when they're just standing around. So it's kind of like a strategy game, sort of like one of those games where you control multiple people at once, like a squad-based game, where you can tell them what to do. Essentially what that functions as is, if you press the select button, I believe, you get to tell them what to do. So you can either tell them to attack, which I think that's what it's set on. That's why it has the little hand with the fireball. I think that's what it's supposed to mean. You know, just attack as soon as you see, as soon as they see a creature or an enemy, they are set to attack that creature. There's other functions. Basically just the only ones that I remember is like either attack or stall. Basically just means don't do anything. Those are the only two that you should worry about. I didn't know that this was a part of the game. In fact, the after doing sort of writing down my notes for this thing, I looked back into the instruction booklet and it says nothing about that. I went on GameFAQs, nobody has anything about that. Nobody mentioned that, and it's one thing that I had to find out for myself. Especially later on at the end of the game, which will be crucial, by the way, because it is, like I said before, you don't know it, but you need to know this. So there you go. That's something that I will tell you right now. I think it's the select button. But anyway, now we're fighting the boss of this chapter. The boss is the Mole Man, who actually debuted way back in Fantastic Four #1, and he is a very, very he doesn't have like a superpower per se. For those of you who don't know the Mole Man, which I would assume is a lot of you, you know, Fantastic Four isn't that popular, and as far as I know, I think he's set to appear in the new Fantastic Four film, but he's not really in that many things, especially set in the Marvel universe. You know, you have guys like Doctor Doom and Galactus and stuff like that from the Fantastic Four, but they appear in everything else, in pretty much everything Marvel related, even non-Fantastic Four related. Mole Man's not one of those. Mole Man pretty much just sticks with Fantastic Four, and that's it. He has high intelligence, and that's pretty much it. He hides underground. He builds all these machines. He's the one that controls all these little mole men. And for this game, all you have to do, and this is very crucial, you see at the top of the screen there, in the top middle of the screen there, you have a red bar. That's actually not his life bar. That's the bar for his little blimp that he's riding around in. You actually don't hurt him. You can't hurt him. The only way to hurt him is to throw these the little mole men into the blimp. Now this is one of those times where it actually hurt me to have the drones on to constantly attack. Now the good thing with the drones here is that they actually know to throw the mole men into the thing. The problem is that they don't know how to aim. So they know to throw the mole men in order to hurt the blimp, which is the only way that you can beat this guy, or you know, go to the next section of this boss battle. But they don't know how to aim, so they don't beat up the mole men, they just throw them. But that's all they do. The CPU is programmed to just throw the mole men, but they're not programmed to aim, which can make this battle drag on like it's kind of dragging on right now. So in this instance, it would have been nice to know, for me, when I was recording this, it would have been nice to know how to switch them from attacking constantly and switch them to just standing there, so that I can do pretty much everything. Once you have it, though, as I am about to do here, hopefully. Now, one thing I am doing here, as you guys probably notice, is I am constantly going all the way to the right. Now, the mole men are spawning over there in the top left, if you can probably see. They're like coming out from a vent or something. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to spawn my CPU people all the way to the right, so that they can get away from the spawning mole men, so that only I can get to them. So that's a bit of strategy. Again, I was kind of forced to do that because I didn't know that you could change their actions. And once he's out of the blimp, he's pretty much easy, and he pretty much just dies. And now we're on to Chapter 2, Subatomic Nightmare. No sooner have the heroes defeated Mole Men when they are transported to the atomic world of Subatomica. What is going on? And yes, that is all the story that you get in this game, except for the ending when you actually get a proper CGI movie. But a lot of people say that there's no story mode. No story. There is a story in this game. It's not a very good one, and it's definitely not explained well, but when you get to the end of the game, it is explained somewhat, and it does make sense why we're constantly going everywhere. Although there's a bunch of huge plot holes in it and stuff like that. But now we are in Subatomica, and I don't know if this is supposed to be a different planet or what it is, what it's supposed to be. All I know is that this is the part of the game where we are introduced to more and more really, really annoying enemies, including these, like, cavemen-looking guys, which I don't know what they're supposed to be. The problem with these guys is that they have this move where they roll into you and they attack you at your feet. Now, I don't know if the block button does anything to that, but it's very, very, it comes out very quick. It can come out of nowhere. It can kind of surprise you. I don't know if the block button does anything to block that move. Quite frankly, I don't even bother with the block button, to be quite honest with you guys. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a beat 'em up. I kind of just take my licks and hope that I'm giving them more. I'm kind of dishing out more damage than I'm receiving. That's pretty much my strategy with this game. And obviously because of the drones, a lot of times I'm kind of expecting them to kind of hold their hold their end of the deal and either take more damage or dish out a good amount of damage, so my job is a little easier. Now this is the part where it gets really annoying because you have to make these jumps, and down there the little green goop, it's not instant kill, but it is acid. So what happens is that if you get thrown in there, you get your life taken, drained little by little, and it's a good thing and a bad thing, because once you get thrown in there, or you fall in there, or you walk in there, which is very easy to do, especially in the part that you guys just saw, because I had my perspective, like my depth perception was out of whack. I couldn't figure out where the platform was exactly, so I kind of just accidentally ended up jumping into the acid. It's good and bad. It doesn't instantly kill you, however, it does drain your health little by little. And the crap thing is, as you guys can see there, the poor thing in the bottom left or the bottom middle of your screen there is jumping out. He can't get out. It's actually very hard to get out of that acid once you jump in, mainly because the ledges are so high up. And the other problem, as you guys can see here, that I'm experiencing is it takes so long for the acid to kill enemies that it's not even, I'm over here trying to destroy them, and they're not dying fast enough because the acid isn't killing them fast enough. So I'm constantly having to use my superpowers in order to reach them, because I can't reach them. So that's also pretty annoying. Again, this game is not that well polished. I think if it had a bit more time to, more development time, it would have been awesome. And maybe if it had been done in sprites, I would have preferred that as well. But once you kill all these guys, you should go on to the next area. And that's it for part 2, guys. I'll see you in part 3.